There we go. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for showing up this evening. This is the WABA Volunteer Orientation, and we're hosting this evening because we have at WABA a lot of volunteer opportunities that can be used if you need them for community service hours, for school, or your place of worship, or someplace else where you need to collect it, or you just want to volunteer and help out a community organization and you believe in the mission that we do. So often people don't know all of the opportunities that are available here. You may have ride marshaled at some point, or maybe you table at an event, but we have a plethora of things to choose from. So today we're going to talk about what opportunities are available, and I'm going to introduce our presenters. We're going to start with Patricia Miguel. She is our Women in Bicycles Coordinator and also our Trail Ranger Outreach Manager. We have Jonathan Stafford, who is our Culture and Engagement Manager. Trey, who is our Bike Ambassador Coordinator. Hey, Trey. We have Callie Crumpus, who is our Senior Organizing Manager, who will also be presenting with Kevin O'Brien, our Virginia Organizer. And I am our Outreach Director, and I will be presenting for Anna McCormley, who is unable to join us tonight. So I'll be doing two toward the end. So if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I don't know how people feel about asking questions during their presentation, so I'll let them say that, or if you want to wait till the end, it's up to you. But let's go ahead and get started with our first presenter, Patricia Miguel.
Thank you, Renee, for the introduction. I'm Patricia. I use she, her pronouns. Like Renee said, I do some stuff with Women in Bicycles, and I do stuff for the Trail Ranger program. So tonight, or this evening rather, I'll be talking a little bit about both programs and the different volunteer opportunities that each program has.
Do you need me to share the screen? I can stop sharing so you can share the screen.
You can just, or yeah, there. I'll
Okay,
share it. Trying to get to the play button. There we go. Okay, can everybody see my screen all right? Should be a picture of my face. Great, thank you. So first, I'm going to talk about the Women in Bicycles program. For folks who might not know, Women in Bicycles is a program of WABA that has been around since 2013. We have our virtual Facebook presence, or online presence, and then we also have an in-person presence, though a bulk of our programming is done online and virtually through the Facebook group. And that's what a majority of tonight's opportunities that I'll be going over center on. So the main volunteer capacity that I'm looking for to support the Women in Bicycles program are 3 to 5 Facebook moderators. Facebook moderators help spur conversation, answer questions, help with general group admin work, such as admitting or denying people into the Facebook group, flagging posts on Facebook that may need to be reviewed by me, or other things that come up. Some of the requirements to be a Facebook moderator is that you must commit at least a 6-month term, and you must attend an orientation that's pretty comprehensive that teaches you what types of things that we're looking for when we ask you to moderate, what type of lens you should have when you're doing it, and some other more technical skills to moderate a Facebook group. So no prior experience is required. We also ask that people apply. So there's an application process. It's not super lengthy, but that is also another requirement of it. In return, Facebook moderators will receive a free year digital membership. So if that's something that is of interest to you, I would say it's probably a commitment of 3 to 5 hours of time per week. It really just depends on how many other moderators we have and how involved you want to be in the group. But please send me an email afterwards, and I'll share my email after I'm done presenting. Additionally, I'm also looking for people to help lead and host meetups or rides. So what that looks like is it could be in addition to the Facebook moderation, or it could be something separate. And oftentimes we get asks from businesses or community partners who would like the Women in Bicycles program to be there, but we just don't have the capacity to fulfill that need. So it'd be great to have volunteers like you all who are interested to help fill that need, whether that's tabling or leading a group ride for a bigger event. Those are definitely possibilities that we are hoping to fill with this volunteer call. And then as for the DC Trail Ranger program, some of the opportunities that we have, I would say are pretty seasonal based. But one of our current volunteer opportunities is participating in our monthly trail cleanups, which happen April through October. So now through October, we have 3 monthly cleanups a month, one on Anacostia River Trail, one on Marvin Gaye Trail, and one on Oxen Run Trail. And so you can see the details of each of them. You can also sign up for them on Eventbrite. We bring all of the cleanup materials. That includes the trash bags, trash grabbers, disposable gloves, reusable gloves, and then we haul away the trash. All we ask is for you all to come with a can-do attitude, ready to pick up some trash. But with that, I'll close out. I will put my, if I can, if I have access to do it, I'll put my email address in the chat. So people who are interested can follow up with me. And Renee, how do I have time to do questions?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'll take questions now. If folks have questions about either of those 2 programs and the different opportunities that I shared.
No questions? Okay. We are recording this. I'll send out slides. And so if you have questions later for Patricia, you can just reach out to her and I'm sure she'll be happy to answer those questions for you.
There's
Patricia. Oh, go ahead.
one question that came through from Kendall. There are no trail cleanup opportunities that I run with the Trail Ranger program in Maryland. That is because the DC Trail Rangers are confined to restricted by a grant to DC. But perhaps some folks from the A team, maybe Callie, could jump in.
Great. Yeah, glad to add from our perspective. The advocacy team works with lots of partners and allied organizations across the region, including in Maryland. So if you have a specific location in mind for cleanups in Maryland, please let us know. I will also add my email and we'd be glad to direct you to some of our partner organizations.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Thank you, Patricia and Callie. Next up is Jonathan Stafford, and I will pass the chair over to you.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Greetings to you from Maryland. I am Jonathan Stafford. I work as the Culture and Engagement Manager at the Washington Area Bicyclists Association. I have 2 exciting opportunities as I try to share my screen. I have 2 exciting opportunities which are new for WABA and for myself, which is to all right. Google's unknown. Sorry. Renee, will you just share my slides? It gave me a star thing. Which are 2 opportunities new to WABA and the work that I am doing here at the organization. The first one, I'll wait for it to pop up here. Thank you so much. The first one, which I'm super excited about, is the DC Bike Expo, currently planned for September the 14th, hosting it in Georgetown. The intention of this event is to just celebrate and bring out people who love biking or interested in biking, to have vendors from the area as well as local ride clubs, so people can find their people. And what I'm looking for, because I plan for this to be a pretty large scale event for DC, I need 10 to 20 volunteers who will really be the host and like the heartbeat of the event that day. The event space is really large and expansive and has classrooms set aside and other venues and other like smaller kind of like meeting spaces within it. And the idea is to have people come in, work a half-day shift or a full-day shift, whatever their pleasure is, in several areas, whether it be hosting, as a bike concierge, bike valet, or ushering, just telling people where to go, where things are, what time things start, as classes go. We will have members from throughout the WABA organization, but staff alone, who represent the advocacy, outreach, trail rangers. We can't handle the crowd by ourselves, so we need volunteers in order to make this event successful. What does volunteering get you for this event, aside from just an awesome and amazing day, in which I'll make sure that everybody has a wonderful time? I'll do everything I can to make sure everybody has a great time. Your half day of volunteerism gets you the whole day into the event, for free. As well as your working scheduled time will also include food and beverage. And then this volunteer opportunity, like all of them, will count towards your WABA membership. I am happy to field any questions. This is a thing that I have been excited to try to bring to the DC area. I have gone to Philly Bike Expo. I've gone to the bike show, the handmade bicycle show. I've done so many of the, and I've been very excited. I've done the stop, swap, and save that happens like in the middle of nowhere, Maryland area. And I really love all of these kind of things, and I'd like to bring something like that to DC with something geared towards like the things that we are interested in our area. So you'll see a lot of ride clubs, people talking about how to get out and adventure on your bike, whether it be through bike camping seminars, how to load your bike, how to commute, how to install panniers, just a plethora of ways that we get around in this area, in the Mid-Atlantic area, that maybe not exclusive to us, but certainly the way that we ride bikes around here. And opportunity to meet folks, meet new folks who have the same interests. So that's the DC Bike Expo planned for September the 14th. It will be an all-day event, and it will happen in Georgetown. There will be bike parking, so you will be able to bring your bike, as well as I'll make sure everybody knows mapped out commuter routes. Other than that, I look forward to hearing from anyone who has ideas. I'm open to it. Like I think planning is done best when it's done with a lot of people. So please reach out to me. I put my email in the chat already. Please reach out to me, and I'd love to have you here. And then the next one, the DMV Cycling Club events. So I have been in conversation with a couple of people who attend like all of the DMV kind of black cycling and women cycling groups. And there's a lot of them. A lot of people don't know. There's a plethora of them. And these groups don't generally ride in the city. They aren't like they're not Saturday night, Friday night, whatever, the bike party. They're not that. These are recreational riders who are riding generally for fitness, but also as a social activity. There are rides that happen pretty much every day of the week. Some of them happen in the morning, some of them happen at lunchtime. If you've ever been out to Haynes Point or East Potomac Golf Links, at lunchtime, there's 20 or 30 riders that make the loop at Haynes Point during lunchtime. These rides happen in the morning, on the weekends, in the evenings, after work. Some leave from bike shops, some leave from parks. And I want to make sure that WABA as an organization is supporting this groundswell and this activity that is happening among Black cyclists. So what I'm looking for is, because I am just one person. Also, I don't go everywhere. I can't go everywhere. I can't be everywhere all at one time. And so I am looking for people who are willing to go up to go to these events and be a WABA representative. Show hospitality. I'll send you out with water or snacks or fruit, as the event might see fit. I may just send you out with maps or stickers, and my business cards, right? It's an opportunity. We want to meet as many of these people as we can. We want to know them. We want to know the things that they're working on. A lot of them also are doing philanthropic endeavors and are giving back to their community. And WABA wants to be a part of that. So what does that get you? Aside from meeting really wonderful people, an opportunity to do some rides that you probably haven't done, and ride with some people that oftentimes are not insular, but like, I don't know about, I thought I knew most of these people. I went to a meeting, I knew 4 out of the 10 people in the room. So it's like I knew 40%, which is not a lot, considering like I thought these was my people, right? Like I thought like folks who like bikes, these my people. I know these people. I didn't know most of these people. So it's an opportunity to learn, just find new areas, discover a new way of riding. If you want to ride with them, they are all open to people joining them for the ride. But I really want someone to go and be a representative for WABA. You have to attend an orientation that I will host, that will include cultural competency and a longer discussion about our code of conduct at WABA, which basically says that you will treat people right. And then you'll receive free admission to the DC Bike Expo for your contributions to the cycling club events. I want to make that clear. I will make sure that you get into the DC Bike Expo if you volunteer and show up as a representative of WABA at the cycling club events, free admission to the DC Bike Expo. And then also, this will still count as towards your free WABA membership. Again, my email is in the chat. Please reach out to me, but I'm happy to take any questions that you might have. I'm going to look in the chat, see if there's anything. I don't see anything. I'll give it a breath, but thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Jonathan. See what's in the chat.
I don't see anything.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I hope you take advantage of both of these, all of these opportunities that have been presented thus far. Next up, we have Trey Robinson, our Bike Ambassador Coordinator. So I will stop sharing so Trey can share his slides.
All right, thank you, Renee, and hello, everyone. Give me one moment while I share my screen. Hopefully I don't have many challenges. Oh, nope, I don't want to use a whiteboard. Sorry. Cancel. Renee, do you have my slide up as well? It's not as easy as I thought it was. If not, no worries.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Okay, gotcha. Here you go.
Thank you very much. So my name is Trey Robinson. I am the DC Bike Ambassador Coordinator, and I am on the outreach team. So as the DC Bike Ambassador Coordinator, I coordinate a lot of our in-person events to encourage more people to try biking, answer their questions to help get them to that next step if they aren't biking already, and encourage drivers to drive safely around bicyclists, and encourage pedestrians to kind of learn the tips for sharing the trails and sharing the roads with other people. So the first question I'm going to answer, which entails me answering the 5 W's of what the heck is a DC Bike Ambassador. So the first thing is who. So who are DC Bike Ambassadors? DC Bike Ambassadors I'm going to skip around here, are volunteers that are bike-loving, conversation-starting mobile information dispensers. That has been the best way that I've been able to describe us. But essentially, bike ambassadors are you, people who are excited to talk about biking, excited to teach people biking skills or helpful tips for biking in traffic, biking on trails, or just for biking for recreational purposes. So whether you do this on your own, I know that I essentially applied to this position because I was doing this on my own. I was talking to people about bikes. I love biking so much that I was trying to get my family members biking, getting friends, getting people in my neighborhood started and getting them biking. So if that is something that you are interested, then you are already a bike ambassador. I just need your help with some of these upcoming events that I'm going to share about what they are. But DC bike ambassadors are funded by the Department of Transportation. So uh Department of Transportation funds just help promote our work and get us out in the community. So sharing in different places throughout DC, we're in all 8 wards. So we like to make sure that we are tackling all the people who need resources for to help get them biking. The next question is what? So what do DC bike ambassadors do? We provide messages about safe bicycling. So I quickly mentioned that we aren't just focusing on people who already ride bikes. We're people focusing on people who are interested or have questions, but we're also focusing on drivers and pedestrians or people who use other modes of transportation other than bicycles. So of course we have resources for everyone. So we're trying to make sure that everyone is essentially on the same accord and knows all of the rules of the roads and how to be respectful and courteous around other folks. So along with what bike ambassadors do, we distribute resources. So DDOT actually helps us fund the resources that we produce. So DC bike maps, DC bike law guides, quick guides that shows helpful tips for biking, and a lot of those other resources for people that are new to biking. A bike map for navigating their route from home to work could be essential and helping to get them biking. Another thing that we do is bike light giveaways. We do these every year from November through March, and it's probably one of our uh, key successes with the Bike Ambassador program and getting our volunteers engaged because they actually love the idea of giving back to people. We are giving free bike lights out to people that are biking at night without them. So we are being strategic in the places that we're setting up, whether it be outside of a bike lane, near a metro station, outside of a busy trail, but in places where we will be seeing people biking and likely biking without light. So as they are biking past, we are literally flagging them down, asking them to stop so they can get a free bike light. So if that is something that you think that you are interested in doing, we can sign you up. There will be plenty of opportunities the winter. We actually schedule at least 2 events throughout the week, every month. Sorry, 2 events weekly throughout the month to do our bike light giveaways. Some other things, bike maintenance workshops. A lot of people are wondering how they can maintenance their bikes or some helpful tips if they've never worked on their bike on their own. So the DC Bike Ambassadors host some basic bike maintenance workshops. So these won't be advanced. We won't be going over how to tune your gears or anything. There'll be basics like how to fix a flat, how to check your bike to make sure that it is in good working order. So we are looking for volunteers to help us with those workshops because sometimes there's a large group that comes in, and of course, as the presenter, I can't focus on everyone. And when we're doing our fix a flat, sometimes people need assistance. So we would love volunteers to support with our workshops as well. And lastly, ride support. A lot of groups reach out to help have WABA or the DC Bike Ambassadors help them plan a route, and ride support entails being a marshal on a ride, which is pretty much making sure that everyone on the ride is safe and has everything that they need to keep biking. So ride support is another thing that we would love your support with. When can you expect bike ambassadors to be doing work out in DC? So we can be doing this any day of the week, honestly. It can be Monday, it can be Sunday. I know everyone's availability may not work for our schedule, but we will have a date that might work for you. So each week you can find us gathering before or after typical work hours. We do generally like that either morning rush hour or evening rush hour time, because we know we'll get a lot of people on bikes around that time. But we do weekend events where there's, I'll talk about in the next section about like where we'll be, but weekend events where we reach out to the community as well. So where will we be? We will be popping up doing outreach on street corners. So as I mentioned before, bike lanes are a popular place for us to set up, but we honestly set up a small table with resources like maps, law guides, reflective materials, and lights on random street corners, and don't tell anyone we're going to be there. And as they're biking, they see, hey, do you need a free bike light? Or hey, do you need a free bike map? And they're inclined to stop. And that's how you get a conversation started and kind of gauge where they are, whether they are already biking, and figure out how we can get them to a next step, whether they already are biking or whether they just have questions and are interested. We like to be at metro stations. Metro stations are a good access point where people can go multimodal. A lot of people bike to the metro or just use the metro in general. And unfortunately, metro has delays at some point. So we try to encourage people at these metro stations to try biking or try a capital bike share bike to help get them around. Community events. This is one of our big ones that we get a lot of invitations to come to community events just to share our resources. I cannot be at every single event, so we are asking volunteers to kind of step in place of, you are a bike ambassador already, so kind of be a WABA representative to share all the resources that we have to kind of let people know about who WABA is, what the DC bike ambassadors are, and kind of give them a resource that can help encourage them to keep biking or encourage them to try biking. And then Open Streets. So that is a fairly new event, but Open Streets is something that we've been attending for the last few years. And I know they've had some smaller ones, but we do fun things at those events. I think the first one we did, we created a pop-up protected bike lane. We actually called it a pumpkin protected bike lane because we use pumpkins, hay bales, and fun things just to get people to see what a bike lane on Georgia Ave could look like. So that's what being a bike ambassador is. It's being creating fun events and trying to encourage more people to try biking. And that gets me a nice segue to my last one, which is, why do we do this work? We want to see more people biking. So we don't want to just see more people biking. We want to see them biking safely. So that is a big thing that the bike ambassadors do, is share helpful safety tips for biking in traffic and on trails and just in biking in general. We also want to get people tapped in more to our bike advocacy. So we have a lot of people right now on this call, like Callie and Kevin, that are in the advocacy world, and we are trying to send you in their direction so you can support their work as well. So whether you just want to go out on a recreational ride, you may find out that there's some advocacy work happening in your neighborhood that folks need your support for. So we would like to start you off just by becoming a bike ambassador, but we want you to help share the information that is happening at WABA, so to get more people on board with the work that we're doing. And lastly, as I mentioned, get more people involved with WABA. There's a ton of events, volunteering opportunities, as you're already seeing, ways to donate, and being a member. So thank you, Patricia, for dropping that. But essentially, if you become a bike ambassador, you will have a fun time and you will get more people excited about biking. That is all that I have. If you have any questions, I will drop my email in the chat. There's a number of ways you can reach me, but I will drop my direct email. If you have events that you think that it may be good to have the DC Bike Ambassadors presence at, you can also share that with me as well. So thank you. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Trey. I just want to add to something Trey said. I used to have this role before Trey did. And I want to say that one of the things he mentioned about community events, we would love it if you're someone who is retired or you have time during the day to help out at some of those events, because we do sometimes get requests to be at, say, Department of Energy or someplace in the middle of the day because they're having a safety fair or they're having a transportation fair, and we can't always do those. So if you have that kind of time, that would be awesome. All right. Next up is Callie and Kevin O'Brien, Callie Crumpus and Kevin O'Brien. I will turn it over to you.
All right. Well, I think Trey gave us a really nice introduction. As you heard, and as you know very well, WABA is working to help get more people on bikes, help them bike safely, and on the advocacy side, make sure that the places we are biking are safe for you to be out. So in the advocacy sphere, there are tons of ways to get involved, from really quick actions to ones that are more involved, and we are always glad for your help along that spectrum. So as you know, just want to include this because I think as folks who are biking, sometimes we lose sight of this. The vast majority of folks, more than half, are not super confident. So we are at WABA are really thinking about how do we create spaces where everyone can feel safe. We know there's a lot of work to be done to make sure that our streets really do feel like they're inviting for people of all ages, all abilities. So as we approach our advocacy work, we are really looking at the folks in that interested but concerned and that somewhat confident stage. How do we really increase the number and the connections of those safe places to make sure that everyone can get out, whether they're walking, biking, or taking transit. And the goal here, I think this image is really telling for the way that a lot of our streets are built. So as you can see there, a lot of the people were really squeezed onto these little sidewalks or these crosswalks, and that is really a way to think about building complete streets. So at WABA, a lot of our work is thinking about how do we make sure that there are full corridors that connect so that people aren't really just squeezed on, sometimes as an afterthought. And a little bit, I should have backed up to say that the advocacy team at WABA works regionally. We have a staff person who does advocacy in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. In Maryland, our work is focused in Montgomery County and Prince George's County. We have a DC organizer, and then in Northern Virginia, Kevin is working in Arlington, Alexandria, and Fairfax.
So where can you get started? In terms of advocacy. The first thing to do is to live it, right? Is to be out there. The easiest way to sort of make a difference is to practice what we're sort of preaching here, right? To walk, to ride, to take transit. There are not every trip can be made, by those modes. We know that, our systems, can be incomplete, but we do have choices on how we get around for at least some of those trips. And so, the first things to do is just to get on that bike. And from there, you become a representative, right? You're talking to people, you're talking to businesses, you're talking to friends. Be that person who has the answers, right? Who can be counted on when friends have questions about, hey, how do you do this? Try to work to be that resource. From there, there's actions that you can take. Callie touched on that a little bit. We are always looking to keep keep our members, keep our bicycling community up to date in terms of ways that they can make a difference when it comes to projects that are open for public comment, or and so you can sign up for our action alerts and take those actions. You can email representatives and sort of start those conversations. From there, there's lots of meetings you can attend. Again, we always try to make it clear when those dates are coming up, and how bicycling advocates can and should weigh in. And then finally, when you're sort of ready to sort of take those next steps, and really try to have an even bigger impact, right? You're on your bike, you're talking to your friends, you're responding to our emails and contacting your councilman, you're attending meetings, sort of what's next, right? And so the next step, right, is maybe considering starting your own action group or project campaign. Next slide, Renee. And so, yeah, a lot of the projects that WABA is engaged on, right, started off as sort of locally driven projects, right? The strongest advocacy campaigns are the ones that have that deep grassroots support, that local support, that are really bubbling up from the ground, and at which point, groups like WABA and others are able to, help echo those concerns, offer, some strategic advice. And so, there are projects happening all across the region all the time. So if one of these is in your neighborhood, get involved, reach out to us and we can plug you into the folks who are leading the charge on all of these projects, listed on the screen. And if it's not, reach out to us and we'll talk about how we might make it a priority, how we might help get your neighbors involved in caring about this. The DC or Virginia or Montgomery County, right? They're the projects that are now in their sort of bike master plans, right? Didn't come from nowhere, right? Sometimes it is is pretty clear that, hey, we should probably add a bike lane here or there. But a lot of those projects really do come come up from concerned citizens saying, hey, this road is unsafe, or this road is you can't bike on it, and we need to fix this. Next slide. And the other, right, so there's sort of the we need to fix this side of bicycling advocacy, and there's also the bike joy side of bicycling, right? And so another way to to really have an impact is to support family riding. The two big ways that community members can do that are with family ride groups, of which there are a number and growing every year of groups that just their entire purpose is to just provide an excuse to get out and ride together, ride with kids. And it's awesome. If you've never been to a Hill family bike ride or a Ward 5 family bike ride, it's just there's so many smiles. It's amazing to see kids on bikes feeling confident and building confidence. And of course, the other way to work with kids and sort of support more bicycling from the from the youngest ages is with bike buses. Again, this is a growing movement to help kids get to school by bike. If you have kids or are a parent, like that school pickup drop-off line is awful, and so there is an alternative, right? And that is walking, and for some folks that is walking and biking or taking transit. So another great way. All of those groups are always looking for folks to help out. Again, it's great if you have that kind of time flexibility. If you work from home or retired or what have you, right? That being able to help out at those those pickup and drop off times, that those early mornings and that sort of early afternoon, is really critical. And then lastly, before I turn it back to Callie, talk a little bit about some of the opportunities. Next slide. Oh, actually, I'm going to turn it back to Callie here.
Awesome. Well, I think as you heard earlier, WABA as a whole, we are working with tons of different partners and allied organizations across the region. Some of those are project specific. We're talking about a specific part of corridor of a road. Maybe it's a bridge, maybe it is a bike lane connection or a trail. Other groups that we're working with are really regionally focused or super locally focused. So a lot of our work is already getting input from and working to support many of those other organizations. So if you have something that you're excited about, as you heard before, please let us know. Many of those groups do have on the ground cleanup activities or tabling, farmers markets, all sorts of activities. So if you'd like to get involved, please let us know and we can help you plug in to any activity, any region that WABA works in, kind of across that continuum. So we want to make sure that we're highlighting many of the great partners that we're working with. Of course, the list that you see on your screen is just a tiny sample of the organizations that we're working with across Maryland, DC, and Virginia.
So yeah, you heard from Trey and Patricia about some of the opportunities for folks to volunteer directly with WABA, and a lot of those opportunities, due to the sort of nature of the grants that folks work under can be limited to DC. And so when we get out to Northern Virginia or when we get out to Maryland, we are, the opportunities are really with some of our partner organizations. I work with all the groups listed on the screen here super closely. They're all doing incredible work. And just like WABA is looking for help with things like, at events and tabling and being ambassadors, all of these groups are also looking for those same kinds of help. And so if you're, joining us tonight, from Virginia, know that you don't have to come all the way to DC to do those opportunities. Of course, we welcome you to do that. We hope you'll consider that as well. But there are opportunities in your own neighborhoods to get involved. I'll just highlight the newest group on this list here is Bike Falls Church, and they really were started by an individual who had lived in DC, moved out to Falls Church several years ago, and was really struck by there not being a local group to sort of coalesce the bicyclists in Falls Church. And so he did exactly what we talked about, right? He had done all the things. He was an ambassador and he took actions and whatnot. He finally got to that last step and he started his own group. And so it's been really exciting to watch Bike Falls Church grow in just two or 3 years from 5 or 6 folks who are like, hey, maybe we should do this, to now I think they have over 300 members who are doing rides and really leading the charge to make Falls Church a more bikeable place to live.
And finally, just want to make sure that we do call attention to other Maryland groups that we're working with. In addition to those other volunteering groups, there are several groups that are really focused on policy and things that are happening at the agency level. So wanted to highlight some of those groups that are more affiliated with some of the departments of transportation, departments of public works and transportation in Montgomery County and Prince George's County. So just highlighting a couple of those there. WABA staff try to attend, but of course we are always looking for representatives if you are interested to help us cover the many meetings that are happening across the region. So I think with that, wanted to make sure that folks understand that there are tons of ways. We don't want anyone to feel intimidated. We are really excited about folks. If you have an interest, if you have any questions, we're glad to help support you on your journey from like clicking, yep, send a quick email that we can help draft, to all the way starting your own group if you're excited about it. All right, Renee, I think you were on mute, but again, our emails are in the chat, or we'll add them right away, and we welcome any questions.
Okay. Thank you both. I was on mute. Thank you. All right. Next up, I'm going to be Anna McCormley for a few minutes. She's unable to make it. So this is what she looks like. So Anna is the development director at WABA. And there are 2 things that she shared that she needs help with as far as volunteers. One of them is ride support. So as you may know, if you've been around WABA for a while, we do signature rides. There are big fundraising events. In May, we had the Bloom Ride. In September, we do 50 states. In November, we do the Cider Ride. We usually, those opportunities are announced when ride registration opens next week for 50 states ride. That will be announced, and the actual event is September 21st. And so they often need help with things like pit stop helper. This is someone who will help WABA staff set up and take down the pit stops, pass out water and snacks to riders, cheer riders on as they refuel and they continue on with their ride. And they also need help with a check-in helper. So that's someone who helps to set up and break down the check-in people for the event, help people with the line management, directing people to restrooms, snack tables, helping them with cue sheets, things like that. The other thing is a van loader and unloader. So we have a van that goes around, makes sure that people have the things that they need at the pit stops. And so we need help with that. And then there's also in-office ride prep tasks. So usually on a weeknight, the week before the ride, they need help with making the Marshall first aid kits, signs, packing ride supplies, and other pre-event tasks. So if you're unable to actually be there that day, there's still pre-work that needs to be done. And it would be great to have someone help with that. The other thing is ride marshaling. And this is one of the things I think we often get a lot of support with, but always need more support with that. Ride marshaling, as I believe Trey mentioned, is supporting your fellow bicyclists. So that includes those who may be less experienced or confident on a bike and tackling a new to them distance or challenge. So ride marshals do get to attend the signature events like 50 States, Balloon Ride, Cider Ride for free. They're also WABA's eyes and ears on the ride, and they have specific responsibilities such as responding to incidents like flat tires or crashes. So if you don't know how to change a flat tire, you should connect with Trey, learn basic bike maintenance, and then you can become a ride marshal and help out with things like that. Helping to navigate or lead rides, bringing up the back of the ride or the sweep if you've never done that, checking in with WABA staff at pit stops so WABA knows how far along the group is, and being friendly and supportive presence and an ambassador for WABA. So these are some of the things we need. And again, Anna will be announcing those opportunities next week for the 50 States ride, which is September 21st. And you do have to attend special training for the ride marshaling. With all of these, I think, except for Callie and Kevin, but they may have it too. If you reach out to people, they may have something extra that they're doing, like Jonathan's doing extra orientation. Patricia is doing it. So if that's the case, reach out to them and there may be extra steps to take. There's definitely a special training to be a ride marshal. So if you're interested, please reach out to Anna and I will put her information in the chat in just a few minutes. Are there any questions about that? I will do my best to answer those, but. All right. And the other one is renewing and giving phone calls. So renewal and giving phone calls. So one of the things that we do every year is we ask for donations. We fundraise. We're a nonprofit, so we do fundraise. And to make calls to WABA members whose memberships have expired, and we're asking them to renew their memberships with a gift to WABA. There's a script that'll be provided to you and a call list. And you'll be asked to make calls during a set period of time. So oftentimes in the evenings when people are home from work. These opportunities come up several times. So Bike to Work Day, there's the membership drive in October, and then there's the year-end fundraising appeal in December. All right. I thought I saw a question in chat. There it is. Nope, okay. Great. And I'm going to lead us out. So I'm Renee Moore. I'm the Outreach Director. I'm going to go through these as quickly as possible. I'm going to talk about Food Rescue by Bike, which is another volunteer opportunity that's available to WABA. This started with a conversation I had with the Executive Director, Andrea Lewis, at the Potter's House, which is located just a block or so up from where WABA's office is. They're on Columbia Road. One day we were speaking and she told me that if you don't know, the Potter's House is a nonprofit as well. It has a bookstore in it, and they also have a small cafe. One of the things that they do is they provide free meals to people who need them, usually people who are homeless. They provide these meals to them free of charge to them, usually between 8:30 and whenever they open, like 9 o'clock or so. And they can come in and get whatever it is they're serving. It often changes from day to day because it depends on the donations that they get. And so as we were talking about that, she told me that one of the things that was happening is that they used to get their food through Food Rescue, but after the pandemic, because they had lost staff, they were unable to go pick up the food that was being given to them. And so they were missing out on the opportunities to serve this community as they had been in the past. And so I asked her a little bit about what Food Rescue is. They're about 2 blocks up Columbia Avenue from where the Potter's House is. And so she told me a little bit about it. And what they do is they pick up food from restaurants, bakeries, sometimes corporate cafeterias, and volunteers will pick this food up and then take it to a service organization like the Potter's House or Downtown Day Services or a senior center or a women's shelter. They'll take it to places like that. But what was happening is most of this food, it wasn't oftentimes a lot of food. People were picking up and like 2 bags of food and putting it in the trunk of their car. So I had an idea and I thought, I wonder if we could deliver this food by bike. And I said, I have access to a lot of bicyclists at WABA. Perhaps we could do it that way. So the goal here that I was thinking is that we can engage volunteers like yourself who are interested to help end food waste in the region. You can do this in Prince George's County. There's a little bit in Montgomery County. A lot of them are in DC, and there's some in Arlington and Alexandria now. I thought this would be a way for us to gain new WABA members and connect WABA with other businesses and nonprofits. And so Kate Urbank, I spoke with her. She said, we had somebody who wanted to do this, but they went off to grad school. I'd love to, to make this work. And I said, great, let's try it out. So she shared the app with me of how it worked, where, and again, if you're interested, you can email me and I'll tell you how it works. But it's very simple. You go to their website, you sign up, and then what you'll see is a listing of all of the available opportunities to do a food rescue. Kate really tries to make sure that the food rescues are within 2 miles, so it's not a long distance. It's something you can typically do on your way to work. Like for instance, usually Tuesday mornings when we go into the office, I pick up one from Firehook Bakery and I take it to the Potter's House. It's right on my way to work. It usually takes maybe 30 minutes max. You can do it at lunchtime or on your way home from work. You can do them on the weekend. So there's a lot of opportunities. What I attempted to do when I first started was to pick things like compact sedan. I figured a compact sedan was equivalent to maybe a bike with panniers and or a basket, and that was doable. So I did a bunch of them during the month of June last year. I tested it out. I picked up large things like that cucumber, but I picked up a lot of things from like the Canadian Embassy and large things from farmers markets and Tate Bakery, which is the one with the croissants here. I picked up pizzas from We the Pizza and I tested them and they were all doable by bike. So I went back to Kate and I said, I think we can launch this. So last July, almost a year ago, we launched this at Conti's Bike Shop. We had about 13 people show up and we told them all about this, doing this food rescue by bike, and people got started and it was great. So over this past year, we've rescued 5,000 pounds of food from food waste. And it's been incredible. Beth, who's not here tonight, but works on my team with Trey and Patricia and Jonathan and I, is the education coordinator, works a lot with the youth. She and Trey planned to do, they did bike camp this year and they planned this in their bike camp where they taught the kids not just route mapping and how to carry things, but they also went into the food rescue, which was awesome. So a lot has been done because we're able to do this by bike. And since then, they've even added bicycle. When I showed you this one with compact sedan, there's now an option in here for bicycle because of all the work that we've been doing. So you can actually pick it by that. So I'm very excited about this program. Some frequently asked questions: what do you use to carry food? A pannier, a basket, a backpack is all acceptable. You can, and Pocampo, if you're not familiar with them, it's a woman-owned business. It's pocampo.com. I can put it in the chat. It's Pocampo. Pocampo gives a 15% discount to anyone that does food rescue. So you can buy her awesome, she has grocery panniers. They're amazing. All of her bags are great. I have all of them. So you can definitely purchase panniers from them. It takes about 30 minutes in most cases. Again, you can do it on your way to work, after work, during lunch, or weekend, whenever you have the time. So it's not a hours long, month long commitment. It's when you can do it. And you can do a couple of things. You can adopt a rescue, and that means that you have agreed to do it every week, or you can just choose to do one, see how it goes. And if you like, if you're like, I don't want to do that one again, and you can pick and choose as you go along. If you can't do a rescue, what you could do is go on the app and release it. And that way someone else can pick it up and make sure that that organization gets the food. And how much, do you know how much food you'll get? It depends. What I tend to do is to call or email the restaurant ahead of time and ask them. They may know at that moment when you call, depends on when you call, but they may say, oh, we'll have like, loaves of bread, or we'll have 6 bags of bagels, or we're going to have, you're going to go to each stand and pick up, you know, boxes of spinach and carrots and cucumbers. And so just making sure that you're prepared for it. I have done multiple trips sometimes because they are pretty close when I can't get everything on my bike. So I just schedule, like, okay, this might take an hour because I have to, load it up, go there, drop it off, come back, load it up. So I have done that on occasion. If you have questions, feel free to email me and I can let you know. I've done a lot of these, so I can tell you if you're picking the compact sedan, I can tell you usually what most people have. Although I was super wrong the other day when Trey and Beth did theirs, because Tate Bakery tends to have a ton of bagels and croissants and stuff, and they gave them a tiny little bag the other day, which was rare. So that's the food rescue by bike. And I want to thank you all. I think we're right on time. We're 5:59. I can't believe it. So I want to thank you all for attending this volunteer workshop. I hope that it was helpful. I hope you learned a lot. And we will send this out, the recording out, once it does all the things that it does to compress it and stuff. We'll send that out. And I'm also going to ask that we put it on our website so that other people can see it. But if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to any of the presenters and we'll be happy to answer any questions. And please get involved. We really did this because we want you involved more with WABA, helping us to spread the word and spread all the bike joy. Are there any final questions? This is from, thank you so much, Patricia, for putting info campo. David has pick up, take out at least once a week and have a trailer I use sometimes for groceries. It'd be great to carry food. Oh, yes. Yes. So let me know if you're interested. It's a great thing. It feels so good to do it. It doesn't take a long time, but it's like, oh, I did something good today. So. Any other questions? All right. Any final thoughts from our panelists? No. All right. Thank you all. You have a great rest of your evening. Bye.